in the heart of a forgotten village, where the rain never stops and shadows whisper secrets, a girl kneels in the mud. Her eyes burn with an unnatural glow, yellow like fire trapped in darkness. Her body is broken, her clothes torn, yet something within her refuses to die. She is not a victim. She is the storm waiting to rise. High voltage around her. Silhouettes close in hunters, mercenaries, or perhaps demons in human skin. They think she is weak, but they don't see the curse flowing through her veins. Every drop of blood on her skin is a memory of battles lost, of chains that once bound her, of magic that was never meant to exist. Fire tonight, the rain is more than water. It is a baptism, a rebirth. The ground trembles, her hands rise, and the shadows recoil. What they thought was prey is in fact the predator. Barriers of night and rain shatter against her presence. At the very center of the frame, kneeling in the mud, she becomes the eye of the storm. A single glance at her, and one realizes that this is no ordinary girl. She is a paradox of fragility and raw power. Her pale skin gleams unnaturally beneath the dim glow of lanterns struggling against the rain. Strands of silver-white hair cling to her face, plastered by the downpour, yet nothing can hide the haunting fire burning in her eyes. 2 orbs of molten yellow pierce through the storm, unblinking, alive, and dangerous. They are not human eyes. They are the mark of something ancient, something cursed, something waiting to be unleashed. Her body tells the story of endless struggle. Mud and blood streak her limbs, each scar a fragment of battles unseen. The tattered red cloth wrapped across her chest and hips is not simply clothing, it is defiance. It clings like the last shield of dignity in a world determined to strip her of everything. Every thread torn by violence becomes a badge of survival. The crimson color, even in its shredded form, symbolizes both danger and resilience. The blood she has lost, and the blood she is willing to spill. She kneels, but her kneeling is not submission. It is transformation. Her posture seems caught between despair and ascension. The weight of the world presses on her shoulders, yet her hands are raised outward, as though summoning an unseen force. Rainwater trickles along her arms, but instead of weakness, it looks like liquid fire pouring down her veins. Her expression is a perfect storm of agony and fury, a mask that dares the viewer to look away, but refuses to grant them mercy if they do. Around her neck, wrists, and ankles are traces of broken restraints, perhaps shackles, perhaps magical bindings. Whatever they once were, they failed to contain her. Now they serve as a reminder. This girl has been hunted, captured, and chained, but never destroyed. The wildness in her gaze is proof that she belongs to no one. Every element of her design screams contradiction. She is both victim and warrior, cursed and chosen, fragile yet indestructible. The dirt on her skin only sharpens her beauty. The chaos around her only amplifies her presence. She is not polished. She is raw, and rawness, in this world of shadows and fire, is what terrifies her enemies the most. The main character does not need weapons to command the scene. Her very existence is the weapon. She is the embodiment of a prophecy written in forgotten tongues, the kind of figure who bends reality around her by simply breathing. Even in silence, her aura speaks louder than thunder. Her every breath hints at the storm she carries within, and every viewer who lays eyes upon her feels the same undeniable truth. This girl, kneeling in the mud, is about to change everything. The atmosphere around her is more than just scenery. It is a character in itself, breathing, whispering, and plotting against anyone who dares step into its domain. The rain falls relentlessly, not as a gentle drizzle, but as a merciless storm that lashes down with the weight of a curse. Each drop that strikes the muddy ground sends ripples through stagnant puddles, turning the earth into a battlefield of sludge and decay. The storm feels alive, as though summoned by her very presence, drumming its rhythm to match the beat of her heart. The background is a shattered village, a place that once knew warmth and light, but now exists as a graveyard of memories. Wooden huts sag beneath the burden of rain, their roofs torn, their walls leaning like the broken ribs of giants. Lanterns flicker faintly, their glow smothered by the storm, but even their fragile flames refuse to die. They stand like the last remnants of hope, trembling, ready to collapse at any moment. Smoke mingles with the mist, twisting upward before being consumed by the endless night sky. Shadows stretch across the ruins, elongated by the scarce, flickering light. They shift unnaturally, as though they are not merely the absence of light, but living entities watching, waiting. Behind her, figures emerge faintly in the mist, dark silhouettes with no names and no mercy. They stand motionless, but their presence fills the air with a tension thicker than the storm itself. Are they hunters, soldiers, or are they wraiths born of the darkness, drawn to the awakening power within her? Their lack of detail makes them more frightening, because what is unseen often cuts deeper than what is revealed. The air is heavy, filled with the smell of wet earth, rusting iron, and the faint trace of smoke from long-dead fires. Every breath feels like inhaling sorrow itself, and yet it also feels charged, like breathing in raw lightning. The storm does not simply fall, it presses down, weighing on shoulders, crushing bones, testing wills. And yet, in the middle of that weight, she rises, even from her knees, like the lone spark that refuses to be extinguished. The ground beneath her is a reflection of her struggle, muddy, chaotic, littered with remnants of broken tools, splintered wood, and forgotten belongings. Each item tells a silent story of a life interrupted, a home destroyed. And yet, all of it seems to bend around her, as if the storm and ruins exist only to frame her transformation. The background is not still. It is alive with foreboding energy. The wind howls through shattered doorways, rain rattles against wooden beams, and the distant crack of thunder punctuates the silence between heartbeats. Occasionally, a lantern flickers brighter, before sputtering weakly again, like a soul fighting its last battle against inevitable darkness. This setting is not just a backdrop, it is a crucible. The village, the storm, the shadows, and the mud all serve a single purpose: to forge a legend. In this moment, as the rain drowns the world and shadows close in, the atmosphere declares one truth: whatever happens here will echo forever. Emotion is the fire that fuels the scene, and drama is the storm that gives it life. At the center of the chaos, the girl is not just a figure drenched in rain. She is the embodiment of 1,000 feelings colliding in one fragile, furious moment. Her face tells a story that words cannot capture. Every line carved by the storm, every flicker of expression, reveals layers of pain, rage, fear, and determination. Her eyes, glowing like molten gold, are not merely an unnatural curse. They are windows into her soul. Within them burns the memory of betrayal, the weight of loss, and the spark of vengeance. They are the eyes of someone who has been broken, yet refuses to remain shattered. Looking into them is like staring into a wildfire, dangerous, mesmerizing, and impossible to ignore. These eyes alone create a drama so intense that the storm around her feels like a mere echo of the tempest within. Her body language deepens this emotional storm. Kneeling in the mud, she appears at first like a victim crushed beneath fate. But look closer and one sees the truth. This kneeling is not submission, it is defiance. Her hands, spread outward as if grasping for unseen power, tremble not with weakness but with the anticipation of release. The tension in her shoulders, the curve of her back, the slight tilt of her head. They all speak of a battle waged not just with the world but within herself. The viewer senses that she is caught in a war between despair and resurrection, between surrender and ascension. The drama intensifies with the storm's interaction with her. Each raindrop pelting against her face feels like another burden laid upon her, another wound added to her collection. Yet instead of breaking her, the rain becomes her ally, masking her tears, washing her scars, baptizing her in an elemental ritual. What others would see as misery, she transforms into strength. This is the essence of her emotional power, turning suffering into fuel, despair into defiance. Around her, the silence of the dark silhouettes heightens the drama. Their stillness contrasts with her raw intensity, making her presence explode with even greater force. The audience wonders, are these figures afraid of her? Or are they waiting for the exact moment when she collapses? This uncertainty adds to the tension, a suspense that hangs in the air like the pause before lightning strikes. What makes the emotion unforgettable is its duality. She is not purely rage nor purely sorrow. She is both, intertwined in a way that magnifies their power. Tears and fury flow together, making her less of a character and more of a storm given human form. She is a tragedy and a revolution, a wound and a weapon. The drama here is not manufactured. It is earned. It comes from her scars, her broken chains, her defiance against the impossible. The storm, the shadows, the ruined village, all of it is secondary. The true battlefield is her soul, and the true climax is this moment, where emotion becomes action. In this single scene, the audience does not just see a girl. They feel her. They feel her grief like the rain, her fury like the thunder, her strength like the lightning. And once felt, such emotion cannot be forgotten. Every powerful story demands an opposing force, something that mirrors the strength of the hero while challenging their very existence. In this scene, the conflict is not just physical. It is psychological, spiritual, and cosmic. Around the kneeling girl, the atmosphere thickens because danger has taken form. From the mist and the ruined village emerge figures cloaked in shadow, their outlines sharp, but their details intentionally hidden. The ambiguity makes them terrifying. What the eyes cannot fully see, the imagination magnifies into monsters. These enemies are not ordinary raiders or nameless soldiers. Their stillness speaks louder than their movements. They do not rush toward her with reckless courage. Instead, they wait, watching as if they know something about her power that even she does not yet understand. Their patience is unsettling, a predator's patience, the kind that stretches seconds into eternities. This waiting becomes the first form of conflict, the battle of wills. Among them, one figure stands taller, broader, cloaked in ragged armor etched with scars of old battles. His face is hidden beneath a helmet, but the faint red glow leaking from the eye slits tells enough. This is not just a man. This is a hunter of cursed souls, someone who thrives on extinguishing power like hers. His presence alone twists the storm, making the rain fall harder, the thunder roar deeper. He is not afraid of her glow. He is drawn to it. To him, she is not a threat. She is prey waiting to be broken. Yet the conflict is more than external. Inside her, two voices clash. One whispers despair. You are already defeated. You kneel because you cannot rise. The other screams defiance. You kneel not in weakness, but in rebirth. This inner war magnifies the tension. Will she give in to the fear imposed by her enemies, or will she rise with the very power they seek to crush? The villain element also thrives in the landscape itself. The storm seems to serve both sides. It baptizes her, but also blinds her. The mud beneath her feet makes standing difficult, as though the earth itself conspires to keep her down. Every crack of thunder feels like the roar of her enemies, mocking her, daring her to resist. Even nature feels aligned against her, amplifying the conflict beyond flesh and steel into something almost divine. And yet, villains thrive in arrogance. The tall warrior and his silent companions miscalculate. They see only a girl, battered, drenched, kneeling. They do not see the storm building behind her eyes. Their confidence is the greatest drama of this conflict, because the audience knows what they do not. She is not on the verge of collapse. She is on the edge of awakening. The conflict here is layered. External enemies waiting to strike, internal demons whispering surrender, and the cruel indifference of a world collapsing into darkness. It is not just about survival. It is about identity, destiny, and the terrifying power of transformation. This moment is the spark before fire, the silence before battle, the breath before war. The villains believe they control the scene, but in truth, the storm belongs to her. The essence of any powerful story lies in the hook, the moment that seizes the audience by the heart and refuses to let go. In this scene, the hook is not just one visual or one word. It is the culmination of atmosphere, character, and conflict, compressed into a single unforgettable image. A girl kneeling in the mud, glowing eyes cutting through the storm, poised on the edge of transformation. For the viewer, this is the moment that demands attention. The storm may rage, enemies may lurk, but all eyes are drawn to her. What makes this hook so magnetic is not what has already happened, but what is about to unfold. She is suspended in the fragile silence before eruption, the pause that makes hearts race, the calm that makes thunder inevitable. Viewers instinctively lean in, asking the same question: what will she do next? This suspense is the highlight. The broken chains around her wrists whisper stories of captivity, but the fire in her eyes hints at revenge. The kneeling posture creates contrast. She looks beaten, yet everything about her aura screams resilience. The hook lies in this contradiction. People cannot look away because they are caught between two possible outcomes. Will she fall or will she rise? To amplify the highlight, imagine cinematic framing. The camera pushes closer, rain blurring the edges, focusing only on her eyes. The world around her fades, and the viewer is forced into her perspective. They are not just watching her story, they are trapped inside it. Every drop of rain becomes personal. Every shadow feels like a threat aimed at them. The hook becomes emotional immersion, not mere observation. Dramatic text layered across the thumbnail could crystallize this tension. Words like, "The cursed awakening," "She kneels, the world trembles," or "Before the storm breaks," instantly communicate that what the audience is about to witness is no ordinary tale. The text should not explain everything. It should ignite curiosity, leaving the rest hidden in mystery. The highlight also lies in the elemental imagery. The rain becomes a baptism. The mud becomes a battlefield. The glow in her eyes becomes a prophecy. Every element is exaggerated to draw the audience deeper. It is not just a scene. It is a ritual, a rebirth, a declaration that something epic is about to rise. For the viewer, the hook works because it taps into universal emotion. Everyone has knelt under the weight of their own battles. Everyone knows what it feels like to be crushed. But few have experienced the transformation of that despair into unstoppable power. By watching her, the audience sees themselves, not as victims, but as warriors waiting to awaken. The final punch of the highlight is inevitability. The audience knows, deep in their bones, that once she stands, nothing will remain the same. The hook is not about if she will rise. It is about when and how devastating it will be. That certainty fuels anticipation, turning a simple thumbnail into a promise. This story will leave an echo long after the screen goes dark.